What's going on? VitalSyntax here, and I want to do another wishlist video. I recently did two of these, one for Battlefield 4, another one for Crysis 3, which are two games that aren't coming out this year. They're both coming out next year or the year after or so. So they have time to incorporate some of the changes and features that I brought up in those videos. At least that would be ideal if they can kind of take some of those ideas and incorporate them. But Medal of Honor Warfighter, on the other hand, the sequel to Medal of Honor 2010, which is the gameplay you're watching here. And also just keep in mind this gameplay is incredibly old. This is actually from on the PS3 from the beta for Medal of Honor 2010. But anyway, Medal of Honor Warfighter, on the other hand, really won't have time to incorporate any changes or features that I might bring up in this video, really, because the game's coming out so soon. So maybe they can be last-minute changes or additions, or maybe a lot of these things are actually confirmed that they've been already added in, and I'll talk about those. Or maybe they can be, you know, added in patches or things like that. So let's first talk about the movement. I felt like the movement in 2010, Medal of Honor 2010, was a little clunky, and there's a couple things I think they could do to fix that. The first one is you need to be able to strafe or move left and right while sprinting, because right now as it sits you can only sprint in one direction. You can't look left and right while you're sprinting, and they need to allow you to strafe while sprinting at least a little bit, like they have in Battlefield 3, which is I think perfect. They need to add prone back into the game, just like they added back in with Battlefield 3 from Bad Company 2. They need to fix the jumping. It feels a lot like the jumping that was in Bad Company 2. They fixed that for Battlefield 3, so hopefully, you know, that change is going to carry over with Medal of Honor Warfighter as well. And then also just the controls in general, the looking around, the movement of your character felt a little loose, a little clunky, so hopefully they can tighten those up just a tad bit. And overall, you know, just have the same kind of movement mechanics that Bad Company 2 did, and Battlefield 3 fixed those for me, so I'm hoping that those fixes will also carry over to Medal of Honor Warfighter. Alright, so let's move on to the next thing, which is more guns, more attachments, more customization, because Medal of Honor 2010 really didn't have very many guns. Very few guns, actually. I mean, you had like the AK-47, you had like the M16, you had an M249 saw, you had basically two of each type of gun. You had 2 assault rifles, 2 LMGs, 2 carbines, 2 sniper rifles, 2 shotguns, and that was basically it, and 2 pistols, which is really disappointing and really lame. And as far as amount of content goes, there needs to be way more than that. So hopefully they can include a lot of new guns into this series, and hopefully maybe even like DLC and stuff. We didn't see any DLC as far as I know for Medal of Honor 2010. Hopefully they'll, you know, have a similar scheme. Battlefield has tons of DLC. And a lot of really good content in there, with maps, with game modes, with weapons and kits and things like that, and equipment. And they need to add, you know, that type of stuff for Medal of Honor Warfighter. So I think just in general, more weapons and more attachments. It'd actually be really cool if we saw a similar customization mechanic that we have in Blacklight Retribution. If you guys haven't played that game, it's a free-to-play game. It's not the best game in the world. It has, you know, its downs. But it has one of the best customization mechanics for weapons, because you can change everything about a gun. You can change its barrel, you can change its stock, you can change everything, and that's how I wish Medal of Honor was. You had that authenticity of being able to change every single aspect of a gun, just like you do in real life. Alright, moving on to the next thing is player camouflage, or allow you to customize the way your character looks. Maybe put on some badass like sunglasses or hats and things like that. Not like Team Fortress hats, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, you know, maybe switching out some of your armor and your clothes, and maybe changing out your camo color. And gun camo would be really cool too. There was actually like a veteran type weapon in Medal of Honor 2010, essentially, where you could get a camouflage looking effect to some of the guns. And I think that would be a really cool mechanic for them to bring back and expand on, and allow for customization with skins and stuff like we see in Battlefield 3. Has like 1 or 2 skins right now for a couple guns, but I would like to see a lot of different skins and a lot of different gun customization. Next thing is, I think they should have larger maps. They need to have a lot more maps as well, because there was very few maps that shipped with this game. They need to have quite a few more. And also there needs to be more game modes, right? I think there was like 3 game modes. You had like Team Deathmatch, like a Conquest game mode where you're capturing flags, and the Rush type game mode where you're pushing up through objectives. And that was it. So they need to have a lot more game modes, and they actually have already announced a couple of them. One of them is called Home Run, which is their competitive type game mode, which I'm really excited for, because it's similar to that Counter-Strike, from what I've heard, where it's smaller teams, and you only have 1 life. Once you die, you have to wait until the end of the round to redo it, and it's more of a competitive based thing, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out. But, you know, a lot more things like that, a lot more new game modes to mess around with. Another thing is they need to decrease the hip fire accuracy, because this game you can just hip fire like crazy, at least in the multiplayer. it was so accurate to just hip fire. As long as you're not at like long range, there's really no point in aiming down your sight. So just decrease that a little bit. More classes, because in 2010 you only had 3 classes. You had the assault rifle class, which is his essential role was the smoke grenade, and then you had the engineer type of class, which his essential role was the rocket launcher, and then you have the sniper class, and that was it. And they've already announced, once again, this is something they've already confirmed, which I'm glad about, and they've already announced there's other classes. There's, I don't even know the list, but I know there's going to be more than those 3, and they're going to have a bigger role. And also bring in some more gadgets, bring in some more like tools that we can use, just like we have in Battlefield 3. You know, there's a ton of different gadgets and things that you can use in Battlefield 3, and incorporating those into the different classes that you're going to give us. Another thing is I want them to fix the panic knifing, because this game had the same basic knifing mechanic that you see in Call of Duty, where it's an instant kill, you have a little bit of a lunge, and it's just really easy to do. And I think they should... I personally think the best way to do knifing is you have to switch to your knife. You actually have to pull it out, just like in Counter-Strike. It can be a one-hit kill, I'm fine with that, but you have to actually pull it. You actually have to switch to it. I think that's how it should be. Either that, or number 2, have it the same way that it's in Battlefield, because I think that's pretty well balanced as well. Another thing is that I want them to incorporate more team play elements, and one thing that they're already doing to incorporate this is the new fire team mechanic, where you have you and one buddy that are in the fire team. And I made a video actually talking about this recently, so you guys can check that out. But trying to incorporate more team play. Next thing is lower damage per second. I think that the guns kill a little bit too fast in 2010, and that really takes away from the gun skill, because if you can just kill a guy in 2-3 bullets, and there's no point in really taking your time and aiming at his head or controlling recoil. I mean, you can just spray, and chances are there's going to be 3 bullets that hit him. And it's like impossible if you get shot from a different direction other than the way you're looking. If you didn't see the guy, if you get shot in the back, or you get shot in the side, there's nothing you can do because you just die instantly. And I think that's one of the things I really like about Counter-Strike, and Battlefield as well a little bit, because Battlefield does take a couple more bullets to kill than, say, Call of Duty or Medal of Honor. But I really think they should lower the damage per second, allow a little bit more gun skill, a little more emphasis on headshots, and a little bit less emphasis on map control and getting shot in the back and the sides, and more, you know, even gunfights. And that's just my personal opinion. I know there's different views on that. They need to add ballistics, because this game, the bullets travel instantly, and hopefully that's something that, you know, that the Battlefield also will have brought to the game engine, that they will carry over to Warfighter. Is they need to have, you know, bullet ballistics. So essentially you need to have bullet travel time, you need to have bullet drop, especially on those sniper rifles, because the sniper rifles were pretty rampant, especially at the beginning of this game. They fixed it a little bit later on, but you need to have bullet drop, you need to have travel time, so you need to lead your targets and things like that. And not just for the sniper rifles, but, you know, the sniper rifles are, I think, they're most important. If they didn't do it to the other guns, I'd be okay with it, but ideally they do it to all the guns. And have, you know, different bullet speeds and stuff for different types of guns. Obviously pistols and stuff would drop off really fast, or not really fast, but that faster than a, you know, a sniper bullet, which is going to go way long range and travel very fast. Another one is the Killstreaks. They need to have less Killstreaks that use the binoculars. I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2010, basically every offensive Killstreak you used, you pulled up a binocular and called it in on a certain location. They were all basically all the same. They were all just like a mortar you're calling in, and they just get bigger and bigger. And then there was like a Predator one where you could control it on its way down. But that was, you know, all the Killstreaks were basically the same thing. They're just bigger explosions. And I did like the Killstreaks. They were pretty fun to mess around with. And I liked how you could get, you know, points towards them doing objectives and things like that. It wasn't just based on your kills. And I like how you didn't have to like choose them, and you could choose a defensive and offensive one. There was, you know, like radars and things like that, or missiles and things like that. But please, less binoculars on the Killstreaks there. And more creative type of Killstreaks that aren't all just bigger and bigger explosions, I think would be pretty cool. Let's see, co-op game mode I think would be really cool, similar to, I don't know if you guys played the single player to 2010, which by the way was an amazing single player. I'm really looking forward to the Medal of Honor 2 Warfighter single player, but some type of survival co-op would be really cool, like imagine a ravine, and you're in the middle of it with, you know, some supplies and some cover, and you have a limited amount of ammo, an ammo crate near you, and like one buddy or up to 3 buddies, maybe 4-player co-op. You're trying to fight off waves and waves of enemies that are just coming from every location. You know, have to keep resupplying and things like that. There was actually a scene from the single player in 2010 that's exactly what I'm talking about, and that'd be really cool to see in co-op, and I think it'd fit kind of the Medal of Honor style that's going on. Another thing is I think the sound effects were kind of bland in the multiplayer, especially on the guns. They sounded kind of fake, but I don't know. From so far what we've heard from Warfighter, they sound superb. So anyway, those are just some of the things I'd like to see in Medal of Honor Warfighter. Changes, improvements, and new features. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like to see or something that I missed in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to give me a like or leave me a favorite. If you want to be auto-notified when I upload the next video, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.